Spain. There are structures that are not built simply to move people from one place to another, but to change the way an entire nation works. Imagine colossal ships carrying tens of thousands of containers, approaching the shore like floating cities. Beneath the ground, streams of traffic disappear into tunnels, stretching for miles, while above them, parks, trees, and rivers are returned to everyday life. Across sun-scorched fields, thousands of giant mirrors capture sunlight, store its heat, and turn it into electricity long after night has fallen. And on isolated mountain peaks, silent machines open their eyes to ancient light traveling across the universe. These are not just engineering projects. This is how Spain is quietly building the future. What makes Andasol Solar Power Station different from Alda d'Avila is that it uses Andalusia's sunlight, long rows of parabolic mirrors, and molten salt to generate electricity even after the sun goes down. Near Guadix, in Granada, this project spreads across the dry highlands of Andalusia like a vast field of silver mirrors, built to catch the sun and store part of its heat for later. Andasol is one of Europe's pioneering commercial parabolic trough solar thermal complexes, using long curved mirrors to concentrate sunlight onto tubes of heat transfer fluid. That heat creates steam, and the steam drives turbines. Andasol becomes truly remarkable after sunset, when its molten salt system can carry the sun's heat for about 7.5 hours, turning daylight into evening power. Across the complex, 350 megawatts plants work together for a total of 150 megawatts, with a site covering roughly 600 hectares, more than 1,100 NFL football fields. From above, the rows of mirrors look almost unreal, as if someone laid a metal ocean across the Andalusian plateau. Andasol's importance is not only that it produces solar power, it shows how solar energy can become more predictable. Instead of sending electricity only when the sun is strongest, the plant can shift stored heat into the evening. That is what makes Andasol more than a solar farm. It is a bridge between daytime sunlight and nighttime electricity, turning Andalusia's fierce sun into power that still works after dark. Gran Telescopio Canarias, or GTC, stands on Roque de los Muchachos in La Palma, Canary Islands, as one of the most powerful optical eyes humans have ever placed on a mountain. Its primary mirror measures 10.4 meters, about 34 feet across, wide enough to feel less like an instrument and more like a silent machine, built to catch ancient light. But the detail that makes GTC unforgettable is how that mirror is made. 36 hexagonal segments move together through active optics, working as one giant reflective surface, while the dome opens above a dark Atlantic sky. At more than 7,400 feet above sea level, the observatory often sits above the clouds, with the island below and the Milky Way overhead. And that darkness is protected by the Canary Islands Sky Law, which limits light pollution, radio interference, air pollution, and flight paths near the observatories, because one careless glow can weaken the view into deep space. When GTC begins observing, it is not simply taking pictures of stars. It is collecting light that may have traveled for millions or even billions of years before touching its mirror. That is why this project feels so much bigger than a telescope on an island. It turns La Palma into a gateway to the universe and helps place Spain on the global astronomy map, not as a background location, but as one of the places where humanity keeps asking how far we can truly see. Metro Bilbao, in the Basque Country of northern Spain, is the underground system that helps move Greater Bilbao while giving the city one of its most recognizable modern signatures. After Metrosur, where the strongest idea is saving time across southern Madrid, Metro Bilbao brings a different kind of wow. A metro system whose entrances, stations, and river-shaped route have become part of Bilbao's identity. Its lines form a Y-shaped network, running along both sides of the Bilbao estuary, before merging through the city center, almost like the steel backbone of a city built around water, hills, and industry. Designed by Norman Foster's team, the system turns everyday transit into architecture: wide underground halls, clean concrete, steel, glass, and station spaces that feel open instead of buried. Above ground, the famous glass and steel entrances known as Fosteritos rise from the sidewalks like curved, transparent tunnels, so even before you step onto a train, you know this metro belongs to Bilbao. The scale is real too. In 2024, Metro Bilbao passed 100 million trips for the first time, a massive number for a metro, serving a region of roughly 1 million people. On weekdays, it averaged more than 310,000 rides, enough to fill the Rose Bowl in California more than 3 times. And this system is still moving forward. Metro Bilbao is preparing a modernization of roughly $790 million, including 37 new trains, more passenger capacity, and trains designed to use about 35% less electricity. That is what gives Metro Bilbao its power. It is not just a way to cross the city. It is a piece of urban identity, carrying people through Bilbao today, while quietly reshaping how the city moves tomorrow. Unlike Port of Algeciras, Isla Verde Exterior, where the drama begins at the Strait of Gibraltar, Port of Barcelona expansion and Best Terminal draw their power from a different image: a high-tech cargo machine operating beside one of the most famous cities on Earth. Behind Barcelona's beaches, cruise ships, and skyline, the port is moving real global trade. In 2024, It handled about 69.7 million tons of cargo and about 3.6 million TEU containers. Proof that Barcelona is not only a travel icon, but also a major logistics gateway in the Mediterranean. At the center of this story is BEST Terminal, a semi-automated container terminal operating since 2012. From above, BEST does not look like a normal dock. With container rows, rail lines, trucks, and cranes laid out in precise patterns, it looks like a motherboard for global trade, covering roughly 100 hectares, or nearly 190 NFL football fields. Containers move between ship, yard, truck, and rail, with a level of precision that feels almost choreographed. But the expansion is not only about stacking more boxes beside the sea. Barcelona is building a major rail freight node, with investment of roughly $285 million, designed to move more cargo from roads onto trains. In 2024 alone, rail activity at the port helped avoid about 155,000 truck trips. At the same time, the port is pushing electrification through shore power systems, allowing docked ships to plug into electricity instead of running engines at berth. That is what makes Port of Barcelona expansion and BEST Terminal stand apart. Not the wild geography of Algeciras, but the hidden intelligence of a port city trying to move more cargo, with less noise, less road traffic, and a cleaner future beside the Mediterranean. Port of Algeciras, Isla Verde exterior, sits at one of the most powerful maritime crossroads on Earth, where the Atlantic meets the Mediterranean, and Spain almost faces North Africa across the Strait of Gibraltar. Unlike a port hidden deep inside a coastline, Algeciras is almost directly on the path of the world's biggest shipping routes, so massive container ships can stop here with very little detour. That position helps make the Port of Algeciras one of Europe's busiest container ports and one of the strongest cargo gateways in the Mediterranean. At Isla Verde exterior, TTI Algeciras has operated since 2010 as the first semi-automated container terminal in the Mediterranean and southern Europe. By day, cranes lift steel boxes from ships taller than city blocks. By night, the terminal glows like a vast machine working beside the sea. The scale becomes unforgettable when you see vessels like HMM Algeciras, a ship nearly 1,312 feet long, almost 4 NFL football fields end to end, with capacity for nearly 24,000 20-foot container units. But what makes Port of Algeciras, Isla Verde exterior, more than a giant container yard is what comes next. The port is pushing into cleaner operations, including shore power systems that let docked ships plug into electricity instead of running engines at the berth. It is still a place of steel, salt air, engines, and cranes, yet it is also becoming a testing ground for how one of Europe's great ports can keep global trade moving while cutting noise, vibration, and emissions at the edge of the sea. Setas de Sevilla, born from the Metropole Parasol project, rises over Plaza de la Encarnación in Seville, like a colossal wooden canopy placed in the heart of the old city. Its scale is startling, about 492 feet long, 230 feet wide, and nearly 94 feet high. Longer than a full NFL football field, including both end zones. Built from 3,500 pieces of micro-laminated Finnish pine, tied together through nearly 3,000 connection points and about 16 million bolts and nuts, it is known as one of the largest wooden structures in the world. Yet the project becomes even more powerful when you see what it brings back to the city. After the old Encarnacion market was demolished in 1973, this central square spent decades fenced off and degraded, until Setas brought people back with a market, restaurants, shaded public space, events, and a 250-meter elevated walkway above Seville's rooftops. The most unforgettable contrast is hidden below your feet, under the futuristic wooden mushrooms. The antiquarium preserves archaeological remains from the 1st century through the Almohad period. So in one project, you move from ancient streets and Roman traces below to a rippling wooden viewpoint above. Setas de Sevilla does not erase the old city, it builds a new public landmark over it, giving Seville shade, movement, history, and one of Spain's most recognizable modern silhouettes. Madrid Calle 30 and Madrid Rio turn one of Spain's boldest urban ideas into a real place of tunnels, parks, bridges, and riverfront life in the middle of Madrid. Instead of pushing a major highway farther from the city, Madrid sent large sections of the M30 underground, along the Manzanares River, and gave the surface back to people. The M30 still circles central Madrid for about 20 miles, and its tunnel system stretches nearly 27 miles, one of the largest urban road tunnel networks in Europe. Yet above that traffic, Madrid Rio now unfolds as a massive public landscape, large enough to fit more than 20 Lambeau fields, including the stadium and its stands. From above, the transformation is almost surreal. What used to be lanes of asphalt beside the river is now a chain of paths, trees, bridges, playgrounds, bike routes, and open space. What makes Madrid Calle 30 truly striking is the split-level city it creates. Under your feet, cars keep moving through concrete tunnels. Above you, families walk by the water, cyclists pass under the trees, and the Manzanares becomes visible again, instead of being trapped between traffic lanes. This is not just road engineering, it is urban surgery at city scale. The project reconnected neighborhoods that had been divided by the highway, and Madrid Rio later received Harvard's Veronica Rudge Green Prize in Urban Design for its impact on public life. Madrid Calle 30 keeps the city moving below ground, while Madrid Rio turns the riverfront above it into a place for walking, cycling, gathering, and seeing Madrid from the water's edge again. Even more remarkably, Gemasolar thermosolar plant turns a field of 2,650 mirrors in Seville into a solar engine built around a 459-foot tower, with molten salt storage that helped make it the world's first commercial central tower solar plant of its kind. Instead of long, parabolic rows like andesol, Gemasolar uses heliostats, arranged in rings, each mirror tracking the sun and aiming its light toward a receiver at the top of the tower. From above, the plant looks like a silver eye staring upward from the Andalusian plain. At the receiver, concentrated sunlight heats molten salt to more than 900 degrees Fahrenheit, turning reflected light into stored heat. That heat can keep the plant producing electricity for up to 15 hours without sunlight, pushing solar power deep into the night. And Gemasolar proved that idea in a way few solar plants ever have. In 2013, it produced electricity 24 hours a day for 36 consecutive days. After 36 straight days of round-the-clock production, Gemasolar becomes more than a solar plant. It is sunlight captured, concentrated, stored, and released on demand. With a 19.9 MW capacity and enough annual production for about 27,500 homes, Gemasolar is not the biggest solar plant in Spain, but its importance is larger than its size. It shows a future where solar energy is not just daytime electricity, but a controllable power source that can keep working long after sunset. Unlike most metro lines that pull everything toward the center, Metrosur, Madrid Metro Line 12, is built around a different idea, letting southern Madrid move without always going through Madrid first. Opened in 2003, this circular underground line connects 5 major cities south of the capital: Alcorcón, Móstoles, Fuenlabrada, Getafe, and Leganés. The scale is not small. Line 12 runs about 25 miles underground and serves 28 stations, making it one of the longest lines in the Madrid metro system. But what makes Metrosur powerful is the problem it solves. Before this line, many trips between these southern cities often meant being pulled back towards central Madrid first. Line 12 changes that logic. It lets people move directly around the south, and with the Line 3 extension to Alcázar, more than 1 million residents can now reach Puerta del Sol in about 30 minutes. That is the kind of change people actually feel. Fewer wasted miles, fewer forced detours, and a faster connection between cities that are home to a huge part of Madrid's working population. During peak hours, trains can arrive every 5 or 6 minutes, turning this outer ring into a steady underground pulse beneath the suburbs. And Metrosur is still evolving. Madrid has explored using parts of the metro network, including Line 12, for last-mile package delivery to reduce vans on surface streets. So Metrosur is not just a commuter line. It is a hidden piece of infrastructure that helps southern Madrid move faster today, while hinting at how big cities may move people and goods tomorrow. Torrevieja desalination plant. On Spain's Mediterranean coast in Alicante, turns seawater into fresh water at mega-project scale. After Tras Vas Tajo Segura, which moves river water across dry land, Torrevieja gives drought-hit southeastern Spain another answer: take water from the sea itself. This is one of Europe's largest desalination plants, producing about 80 hms cubic a year, or more than 21 billion gallons. Blue Mediterranean water enters the system, passes through high-pressure reverse osmosis membranes, and comes out as water for homes, farms, and cities. The plant helps supply about 140,000 people and irrigates nearly 20,000 acres of farmland, an area larger than Manhattan. Now Torrevieja is being expanded from 80 to 120 hms cubic a year, pushing future capacity toward nearly 32 billion gallons annually. That matters because southeastern Spain cannot rely only on rainfall, reservoirs, or river transfers. As droughts grow more severe and water disputes intensify, Torrevieja makes the Mediterranean part of the water supply, but the process still leaves behind concentrated brine that must be controlled before returning to the sea. This is why the plant feels so important. It turns the ocean from a barrier into a source, giving dry coastal regions one more way to keep water moving through homes, farms, and everyday life. Leaving the solar fields of Seville behind, Puente de la Constitución de 1812, better known as La Pepa Bridge, brings the story to Cádiz, where steel cables, Atlantic wind, port traffic, and a sweeping road rise over the Bay of Cádiz. The most impressive thing about La Pepa Bridge is how much scale it forces into one view. A 1,772-foot main span, a deck rising about 226 feet above the water for large ships, and two pylons climbing close to 590 feet into the sky. From below, the bridge feels like a gateway. From above, it cuts across the bay like a powerful line between Cádiz and mainland Spain. But this massive crossing is not only built to be seen, it is also watched constantly by more than 500 sensors tracking wind, vibration, deformation, weather, and the corrosive bite of the marine environment. The traffic numbers show why this bridge matters beyond its silhouette. By 2024, La Pepa was carrying about 57% of the daily traffic entering and leaving Cádiz, with more than 29,000 vehicles a day in September. The detail that gives La Pepa Bridge deeper symbolic power is its name. La Pepa points back to the Constitution of Cádiz in 1812. One of Spain's great political milestones. So La Pepa Bridge does more than cross a bay. It connects a modern coastal city to mainland Spain, while carrying a name tied to the birth of modern Spanish constitutional history. Quattro Torres business area in Madrid is where Spain's capital adds a new skyline of glass towers to a city long known for palaces, plazas, and historic avenues. On the former training grounds of Real Madrid, along Paseo de la Castellana, Madrid replaces soccer fields with 4 of the tallest skyscrapers in the country, creating a skyline that feels almost unreal against the older city around it. The numbers hit immediately. Torre de Cristal rises about 817 feet. Torre Moevel, about 815 feet. Torre PWC, about 774 feet. And Torre Emperador, about 755 feet, forming a business wall taller than anything Spain had built before. The most striking tower is Torre de Cristal, designed by Cesar Pelli, whose glass skin catches the sky and makes the building look lighter than its height suggests. Yet the detail that makes this district feel unexpected is hidden at the top. Torre de Cristal holds a rooftop garden of roughly 6,500 square feet, a green space suspended above Madrid on the country's tallest building. CTBA is not just about height. It changes the way Madrid is read from a distance. The old city still carries royal facades and stone streets, but the northern skyline now speaks in glass, steel, finance, global companies, and vertical ambition. That contrast gives Quattro Torres its cinematic force. A historic European capital, once defined by horizontal boulevards and monumental squares, now marks its economic power with 4 towers rising like a modern gateway into Madrid's business future.